pipe alone. Okay, so sound like the job here could be, if I divide the whole thing by 7, sound like the job could be expressed like if I divide the whole thing by 7, I mean equation A by 7, I will have the job divided by 7 is equal to V1 plus V2. And from the equation B and C, I can get V1 and V2 in another way. So the job will be G over 7 is equal to, because from B I can see that V1 is equal to job divided by T1, and here V2 from C, equation C, I can see that V2 is equal to job divided by T1 plus 1. So I come here, I can use it here, substitute to have less variable. Okay, I substitute all these here to have less variable. So I have the job divided by 7 is equal to the job divided by T1 plus the job divided by T1 plus 1. Okay, now I have job everywhere here, so I can factor, or I can just cross them out because I have the job in both sides of the equation. So I can just write it like this: 1 over 7 is equal to 1 over T1 plus 1 over T1 plus 1. Since I only have T1, I can either call it T or I can just let T1, so it will be easy. This is easy to solve. Okay, now I have to reduce everything and make it look like a quadratic equation, and then that will be really easy. So let's go ahead and do it. So I have 1 over 7 is equal to T1 plus 1 plus T1 over T1 plus 1. So there I have 1 over 7 is equal to 2T1 plus 1 over T1 square plus T1. Okay, so now I can do cross multiplication. I have T1 square plus T1 is equal to 7 times 2T1 plus 1. I close the parenthesis. So I have T1 square plus T1 is equal to 14 T1 plus 7. That kind of look like a quadratic equation. So I send everything in one side. T1 square plus T1 minus 14 T1 minus 7 is equal to 0. So I have T1 square minus 13 T1 minus 7 is equal to 0. So that's the quadratic equation we have to solve. The coefficients are respectively 1, negative 14. So I have like because quadratic equation is usually on this form: ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. In this case right here, my a is equal to 1, my b is equal to negative 13, and my c is equal to negative 7. C is the product, so the 2t1 I'll find one will be positive and one will be negative, and then I know for sure that I can't use the negative sign. That's a good sign. So I'm sorry, that's just a way to predict what is gonna happen, but I know that those solutions are real just by looking at the different coefficients of my equation. So now I can use the quadratic formula to find the radicals of these, or the solutions. So I have T1 is equal to minus (13) plus square root, plus or minus square root of 13 square minus or plus minus 7 times 1 over 2 times 1. So T1 is equal to 13 plus or minus square root of 13 square plus 7 over 2. So however, when I compute this on the computer, on the calculator, I have T1. When I compute that on the computer, I have T1 is equal to 13.5178 hours. That's T1. T2 is equal to T1 plus 1. So I have T1 here from this formula, and the other one will be negative, so I don't even bother calculate it because it will be negative anyway. So I just go ahead and find T2. T2 according to what we have earlier. In this paper, we say earlier that T2 was T1 plus 1. Okay, so T2 will be 14.5178 hours. Approximately. So that's the answer. So to recapitulate everything, when you have a homework, the first thing to do is to rate it. After you rate it, sketch the problem, try to figure it out, and then name the variables and know what you're looking for, and then set the equation.